Salutations, you sea sailing swabbies. I'm Rob Raven, and you're joining me today on the first on an upcoming tutorial series for the Sea of Thieves called 5-Minute Fridays. This video series will be a crash course of breaking down the key fundamentals and gameplay mechanics of the Sea of Thieves without any of that YouTube bloating nonsense.
Oh yes!
The series will cover a range of topics ranging from food management, weapons knowledge, map bearings, sword jumping, naval cannons, but today we'll be starting with the basic of basics: sloop sail management and why it's so important on the Sea of Thieves. And with that, let's whack 5 minutes on the clock and make you a sloop sailing extraordinaire.
Oh my gosh, it's a sloop!
Yahoo! And away we go. So, what's the first sail work that you want to learn while being on a sloop? Well, you'd be surprised. It's a term called dummy sails. What's dummy sails, you ask? It's this sail configuration right here, where the wind is blowing directly against your sail. So what is the advantage of rocking dummy sails, and why is it so important on the Sea of Thieves? Well, dummy sails for a sloop is actually causing it to have less drag than any other ship in the game. So if you had an enemy brigantine chasing you, they would suffer from more drag, thus resulting in you becoming the faster ship. Now, can you take this methodology and use it against a galleon? Absolutely. Because you've got less drag, a galleon will be slower than you, even more so than a brigantine in this situation. Another win for Team Sloop.
I'll drink to that!
Now that we've stressed the importance of dummy sails, let's move on to the second most important sails for your sloop on the Sea of Thieves. Say you want to get from A to B at the fastest possible rate, this is the sails for you. This is full bellow. But what does full bellow mean? Well, in nautical terms, it means all of the wind directly into your sail, as opposed to against it like dummy sails. This gives you all of the wind's power to push your ship along at the fastest speed possible. Now, in a perfect world, that would be great if all the ships were just sloops, but let's not forget that Sea of Thieves has both the brigantine and the galleon, so let's have a look and see how they compare. If we look at it as a visual representation and nothing more, we can see that the galleon has 7 sails, the brigantine has 3 sails, and the sloop only has 1. This is where the double-edged sword comes in. Though you may be getting a speed boost from full bellow, because both the brigantine and the galleon have more sails, it is easier for them to catch up to you and catch more wind. In terms of maximum to speed velocity ratio, it goes galleon being the fastest, then the brigantine, and then the sloop if you're going into full bellow. If you remember earlier with dummy sails, this was in fact the opposite. This is the importance of knowing your wind patterns and which ones are best suited for each individual ship. Now, the next sail is very similar to full bellow in terms of catching wind. This one's called side wind. So side wind is where you achieve the maximum amount of speed in your sail when the wind is coming from either directly left or directly right. This is really important. It's not to be confused with crosswind. Although visually similar, crosswind and sidewind are two completely different wind patterns within the Sea of Thieves, and knowing the difference between these two different types of wind patterns is a definite must. It's important to recognise that sidewind is only attainable when the wind is directly left or directly right, otherwise you're then confusing it with crosswind. So what about the speed metrics of each ship while using sidewind? Well, you'd be surprised, it's not the same as full bellow. The sloop is the slowest, but then it is the galleon and then the brigantine which is the fastest in sidewind. So why is this? Why is the brigantine faster in sidewind but not faster than the galleon in full bellow? Well, this is mainly attributed to the fact that the brigantine isn't the same size as the galleon, so it's not as heavy, but it's not as small-winded as the sloop with one sail. Therefore, it's got a nice balance between size and speed, therefore giving it the edge in sidewind. But what about our final sail? Our final sail that we'll be talking about today is crosswind. Crosswind is broken down into two categories. You've got crosswind against the helm, and you've got crosswind against the bow. For the example of this one, we're going to be talking about the crosswind against the bow. The reason why I've chosen this particular crosswind over the other is because I see so many sloopers making a big mistake. With crosswind against the bow of your ship, this is not the time to try and achieve sidewind sails. I cannot stress this enough. You get more speed out of your sail by adjusting your sail into dummy sails than trying to achieve sidewind. With that being said, if you are on a galleon or are on a brigantine, you can achieve crosswind across the bow, and this is where many sloopers get caught out. When breaking this down into raw speed, the fastest ship with crosswind against the bow of the ship is the galleon, then it's the brigantine, and then it's the sloop. This is something that you need to know. By knowing this information, this is where you can now put it to use in keeping your sloop safe. When you're trying to achieve side wind and it's actually a crosswind across the bow, it is better then to reset yourself and adjust for dummy sails so they cannot catch you, because that's when you're fastest. But what about crosswind against the helm? Well, crosswind against the helm is kind of a mixture between side wind and full bellow, but it doesn't give you the speed advantages of either. If we're strictly talking about speed, imagine if it was a mixture between side wind and full bellow, but half that speed. This is because it sits directly in between those two sail patterns. So if you do choose to use crosswind against the helm, just take that into consideration. Once you've understood that this is the case, you can then wager whether you use side wind, crosswind, full bellow, or dummy sails in your arsenal against being pursued. I know we've run out of time, guys, but I've got one little golden nugget for you which will help you in a pinch. Sometimes on the Sea of Thieves you get the no wind direction glitch, but I've got something that can solve that for you. If you do end up suffering from the no wind sail pattern glitch, it's easy to remedy. Just simply go up into your crow's nest and select one of the flags. Believe it or not, this flag does tell you the direction of which way the wind is going because it follows the wind's direction. And boom! That's it! That's 5 minutes on the clock. We have overrun slightly, but with all the tips and tricks that I've shown you today, you should be deemed worthy of being a sailmaster on the sloop. If you want a link to my Twitch, it is in the description below. I am Rob Raven. I have been your sloop sailmaster for today, and if you enjoyed your experience, please, please, please smash that subscribe button with a powder keg, hit that like button, and drop a few comments, because believe it or not, they make a massive difference. And I will catch you guys in the next 5 Minute Fridays.
But in the meantime, ta-ta for now!